Hello everyone. I once again welcome you all to my YouTube channel English Banisa. So students, in today's video we are going to discuss A.G Gardiner, one of the very popular essay on saying please. Here in this essay, A.G Gardiner give a beautiful message where he shows the importance of politeness in everyone's life, which he says it is necessary characteristic of civil society. Politeness, he claims, is what keeps civilized man's social life properly lubricated and friction free. So, before going on to the summary of On Saying Please, let's know about the author, which is A.G. Gardner. So, here, students, A.G. Gardner, which his full name is Alfred George Gardiner, was a journalist, editor, and novelist from England. His work, which he wrote under a pen name Alpha of the Pluck, which means pen name is nothing but he wrote with a false name which called Alpha of the Pluck. This work have received a lot of attention. He was a regular contributor to the Manchester Evening News, the Daily News and media. The Pillars of Society, Pebbles on the Shore and Many Furrows on Leaves and Leaves in the Winds are among his best known pieces, and this On Saying Please is one of those. His unique ability to express life's essential truths and moral concerns in a straightforward and amusing manner is remarkable. So now students, let's about this essay on saying please. Introduction of to this essay. So here A.G. Gardner says a positive mood leads to naturally pleasant behavior that spread happiness throughout the environment. On the other hand, a bad behavior or bad temper produce impolite behavior, which contaminates the flow of life. Both good and bad behavior can spread quickly. The problem is that the law cannot compel good behavior. Means the law cannot force anyone to behave as good. This is because appropriate behavior is expressed through the tone of one's voice, the shape of one's lips, and the expression of one's face, all of which are things that the law can never regulate. And finally, the Gardiner claims that the nicest form of retaliation against annoying people is to be overly pleasant to them. And here in this essay, he explained through the two examples how we have to behave and retaliate against annoying people, how we have to overly pleasant to them. So now, students, let's start a summary on saying please. So the story begins with the incident of a liftman. It tells us the story of an incident that occurred at a city office. A young liftman retaliated, which means response back, violently against a passenger who refused to politely request to be taken to the building's top floor. The passenger had declined to add the word please to his instruction. The passenger simply instructed the liftman top. He did not say top please. So here, due to the bad behavior of the passenger, the liftman hurdled the passenger out of the lift. And due to that, a liftman was punished for throwing an ill-mannered person out of the lift. And according to A.G. Gardner, here the liftman was wrong because he had used violence here. Although excellent manners are always deemed pleasing in civil society, the narrator claims that they are not legally enforced. There is no legal system that requires citizens of a society to act courteously, which means in a good behavior. As a result, the law ruled in favor of the plaintiff, which means the law which ruled is with the passenger, not with the liftman, despite the fact that the most people sympathize with the liftman. After making this point, the narrator acknowledged that bad behavior cannot be forgiven just because it is not penalized by law. The case of the liftman demonstrated that while the lack of respectful gesture from a passenger was a source of embarrassment for the liftman, the law cannot punish anyone to behave badly. As bad manners are not a legal crime, no law can enforce civility. Law can be enforced only in a specific instance of violation of human rights, as spelled in the Constitution. However, the law cannot enforce or compel one to say please and thanks, which would come under manners, not rule. No law can enforce a person to say please or thank to anyone. That not come under rule. It's come under manners. So here, law does not consider hurting our feelings as a case for compensation, nor does it compensate for moral and intellectual damage. Which means a man with bad manners is disliked by everybody. Words like thanks and please makes our which helps us in making our passage through life smooth. The law does not permit us to hit back if we are the victims of bad manners. Thus, here the law cannot become the guardian of our private manners. This come under our manners. So here the individuals are responsible for regulating their own behavior and public conduct. So here students, the A.G Gardiner explained his further essay by stating a example of a cheerful conductor to demonstrate how such people promote happiness. Gardner makes it obvious that if we get unpleasant conductors now and then, it is the result of their demanding job. Whereas the courteous conductor, on the other hand, delightfully surprised the author by purchasing a ticket for him because he had forgotten his purse at home. He was pleasantly surprised by the conductor's friendly demeanor. The conductor had also stepped on the author's toe on another occasion, but he was sincere in his apologies, so the author easily forgave him. After that incident, the author developed a habit of observing a well behaved conductor who took on various responsibility in assisting his passengers, which means he wanted to comfort his passenger. And he was a son to the elderly, a father to the children, and a friend to the young, and also a caregiver to the disabled. Here, the fact that the conductor would get out of the bus and ask the driver to wait for him so that he could take the blind across the road or around the corner particularly astonished the author. So, here Gardner goes on to say that just as a nice weather boosts our spirit, so do good natured individuals. Even unpleasant people can't resist their own charm. So here the conductor's manners delighted the author greatly. He loved how easy it was for him to work. According to the author, good manners like poor manners are contagious. When we come in contact with a person, nice person, we become polite as well. Like bad manners are contagious in the sense that they pollute the overall flow of life more than any other crime. When a man is insulted by someone, he passes it on to someone of lower social standing, and so on, until the entire world is infected with ill humors. So here the narrator consider the situation of the liftman in a broader context, though not excuse the passenger's bad behavior because he was not treated well with his employer, because his employer did not greet him with a friendly good morning. The employer fails to greet him with friendly good morning because the employer in turn may have had tense discussion with his wife and the employer's wives who may have been irritated by the housemaid's bad behavior and so on. This chain demonstrates that bad behavior is contagious. So, according to the author, a bad temper harms not only the person who exhibits it but also those who come in contact with him. So here bad manners are infectious in the sense that they do poison the stream of general life than all other crime in the calendar. So that's why the author said when a man gets insulted by someone he passes it on to someone else below his social standing and in the same manner it keeps passing from one to another and the whole world gets infected with ill humors. So here according to the author good manners have been promoted by all religions. Yet no religion or constitution has ever attempted to legislate against ill manners. Means no constitution make the rule for ill manners. Please and thanks and sorry in the writer's opinion are the small courteous that keep the machine of life oiled and smoothly running. They create a kind and welcoming environment. The author encourages us to return to these manners and behaviors so that society can become a safer and more enjoyable place to live. So, here the true that bad manners are infectious, but good manners are also equally infectious. They pass from one person to another like bad manners and infectious the whole society. Now, here at the last, Gardner gave the example of how we have to behave against annoying people, how we have to behave them overly pleasant to him. So, students, here the Gardiner gave the example of Chesterfield, where he claims that the nicest form of the retaliation against the annoying people is to be overly pleasant to them. So, Chesterfield was a famous writer during his time. The street of London were devoid of pavements, and the pedestrian found it difficult to walk on the road. The feet of those closest to the wall were the driest. So once Chesterfield told by a fellow who arrived from the opposite direction that he never gave the wall to the scoundrel. Chesterfield graciously moved back, stating, "I always do." That was enough revenge, yet it was done in a very appropriate yet courteous and civil manner. So here Chesterfield was undoubtedly victorious in this case. So, students, the conclusion of this essay is we should evaluate action that make the world a better place. This will assist us in making life kind and tolerable for one another. If we flavor our action with kindness, civility, and humor, the world will be a beautiful, livable place. Law has its limitation and it cannot assist us in